Alrighty gang, today, as the title of this video suggested, we're going to be trying to have as many different types of potatoes as possible. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, I am starting a day early, so don't attack me for not wearing green right now. Actually, I do have green. I have that little guy. He is green. But that being said, so we're starting off a day early because I have a shit ton of different types of potatoes to make. And truth be told, I don't want to be in the kitchen literally the entire day tomorrow. So we're going to be making a very simple little gnocchi recipe that I really like. Me and my sister make it a lot. It's a very good staple meal. It is simply, you make gnocchi, which is very simple. You boil it in a pot until it floats. And then you make ground sausage, you cook it up, and then you make a little Alfredo sauce. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. So we got two pans here. One has a little pot that is boiling up with water, and then another pan, which we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of oil on. Italian ground sausage usually is pretty fat, so you don't need to use oil, but I like to use it just to be on the safe side because this pan likes to have things stick to it sometimes. So, like I said, Italian ground sausage. This is what we got. Very beautiful, very lovely. Okay, then you want to cook that up until it's, well, you know, cooked. Okay, now that that's starting to get pretty cooked up, we're going to go ahead and get some heavy whipping cream and put it on the pan. We basically just want to get enough that it completely coats the bottom of the pan. That honestly might have been even a little too much. But we're going to do that. We're going to leave it on high. We're still going to let this cook up a little bit more because it still needs to cook a decent bit. And then we're also going to end up adding in Italian seasonings, a bunch of garlic powder. Trust me, you need a lot of garlic powder. And then we're going to end up adding in, after this is cooked together for a little bit, a cup of Parmesan cheese. Okay, now the cheese is starting to melt in. We're going to be adding in some fresh spinach here in a little bit. And also, our water is finally ready to boil, so we're going to go ahead and put in our gnocchis. And like I said, you just want to wait for these to float to the top. It honestly should take about 2 or 3 minutes. These are pretty quick to cook. So for the spinach, you could obviously do how much ever you want. I had half a bag left over, so I ended up doing half a bag. Once it cooks down, it's not going to be as huge and overwhelming as it is right now. But basically now pretty much all you have to do is grab either a slotted spoon or if you have a spider, and then you want to transfer the gnocchis into this pan whenever they are cooked and ready to go. And then this basically is, I would say it's not a one-pot meal because I'm making it in 2 pots, but you could make this a one-pot meal if you wanted to. But yeah, very simple, very easy, really good recipe. I 10 out of 10 would recommend. And yeah, that's going to be it for the first potato recipe. Alrighty, and here's a little bit of a glamour shot for that. Doesn't it look super beautiful and yummy? I also ended up adding in just a little bit of onion powder and paprika. And as with pretty much everything you ever make, salt and pepper to taste. I actually don't know what that means. I don't know what it means to taste. Like, I imagine you would like add more or add less if you've tasted it, but that's burning hot. I'm not going to taste that. I'm just going to trust my instincts. Okay, it is now St. Patrick's Day. I am wearing green, and today we're going to be starting off with breakfast. I'm going to be making 2 different types of hash browns. We're going to be making homemade hash browns, and we're going to be making the frozen little patty hash browns. So we're going to have one of each. We're going to start off with the one that takes longer to make, obviously. We're going to make diner-style hash browns. If you've never made them, they are kind of a pain in the ass to make, but they are so rewarding. I 10 out of 10 would recommend them. Also, I want to address an elephant in the room because I think this was open yesterday too. For anybody who's like, oh my god, why is their front door always open? I have a dog, and she loves going outside, and she will not come inside ever. Like, if I try to bring her inside, she literally will not. So I just leave that door open so that if she wants to come inside, she can. She's not going to, but I'll also leave it open because right now I can quickly peek outside and I can see where she's standing, and she's staring at me like, come play with me. No, I'm making breakfast. Okay, but now for these hash browns we're going to be making, I'm going to take 2 of these potatoes. I'll see if I potentially need a 3rd one, but we're basically just going to grab them. We're going to grab a cheese grater with one of the bigger settings, and we're literally just going to grate. I am going to wash these first, though. Now, something that sucks about this cheese grater is it is designed for cheese, so I'm going to have a lot of my stuff that I'm grating end up, like, not going into it. There's literally a bowl underneath it, which is where it's supposed to be going. It's supposed to be going in the bowl, but it's not going in the bowl. So I guess I need to grab another bowl to put under the bowl. I'm confused. Either way, you're going to do this process for, like I said, I'm doing 2 small potatoes. If you had 1 big potato, you could probably do it with 1 big potato as well. Okay, so eventually you're going to have a little glob of little shredded potatoes. And now, before we can fry this, there's one last thing we need to quickly do. We need to go ahead and try to dry it out. So the best way to do this, I'm going to grab a couple paper towels, put this inside the couple paper towels, and then just squeeze as much liquid out of it as possible. Usually I would do this over the sink, but I really do not want to feel like moving my entire camera little studio over there. So I'm literally just going to do it here. And like I said, you literally just want to squeeze as much liquid as you can out of it. There's going to be a lot of juice because these potatoes are very wet, very moist. And you want them to be as less moist as possible, because in order for these to fry and get a nice crispy crust, you need to really dry them out. Okay, now we dried that out to the best of our abilities. To cook this, you're going to want to go ahead and get a pan on a really high heat, a lot of oil down on the bottom of the pan. You can also put some butter down. It will make it a little bit better, but because my diet today is going to be just potatoes, I figured I could maybe make a slightly healthier version of this. So we got a bunch of oil down on the bottom of the pan. We're waiting for the pan to get hot, and once we get it, we're just going to slap it down, press it down, make it as flat as possible, kind of like if you're making like a smash burger, but it's just a little potato. And meanwhile, while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 425 degrees. I don't have a toaster to toast the frozen little hash brown patty that I'm making, so I'm just going to throw it in the oven at 425 degrees for about 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm also going to grab a separate pan so I can make like eggs and sausage and stuff in the background that I can throw on top of this hash brown scramble. So everything's going to come together, and then I'll meet you when it's breakfast time. Okay, I'm absolutely cheating. I just remembered I made breakfast for dinner the other night. I have home fries, literal home fries as well. So, oh my God. Alrighty, so our first meal of the day, we got hash browns with different type of hash browns, and we got home fries with a little bit of sausage and eggs. I am so fucking excited. These are going to be so good. Okay, so that breakfast was kind of a lot, I'm not going to lie. And I actually, low-key, am not even really hungry because that was a big breakfast. But I wanted to have fries and tater tots for lunch. So I'm going to go ahead and start making those. And I am also going to go ahead and get ready for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on 300 degrees, throw frozen fries on a tray, frozen tater tots on a tray. Just throw them in there while I quickly take a shower. And then I will see you guys in a little bit. So, ta-da, they're both in the oven. I'm going to go take a shower, and I will see you guys in a second. Okay, so these went ahead and cooked up for about 16, 17 minutes. Now that I want to get them crispy, so I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven to a much higher temperature now. I'm going for 450, and then we're going to throw them back in there for about 2 minutes, flip them, and then cook them again for another 2 minutes. And then we're going to make both of these loaded. So this one is going to be loaded with barbecue chicken, which I'm just going to use a can of chicken, shredded up, throw in some barbecue sauce, obviously, and then we're going to throw Italian-style cheese on that one. And then this one, I was going for like a California burrito style. So we're going to be cooking up some ground beef. We're going to be throwing in some hickory smoked house blend cheese. Ooh, actually, I might be swapping up those cheeses. I'm going to do hickory smoked blend on the barbecue chicken tater tots. And then for the California burrito style one, we're going to do a little bit of Mexican style and a little bit of Italian style because I did not get the right types of cheeses, apparently. Okay, so sorry for kind of leaving you guys in the dark for this one. I'm really behind schedule right now. I need to go to the gym in like an hour. So I was supposed to eat this probably about like 30 minutes ago. But this is the barbecue smokehouse one. I did 2 cans of chicken. I shredded them up as best as I could. I threw some barbecue sauce on there. And then this one is California burrito style. So we got some pineapple salsa on there with a little bit of black beans and ground beef. And with my lunch, I will also be having a little bit of potato salad, which I got store-bought because I'm cheating. And then a tiny little leftover thing of the gnocchis that I made at the beginning of this video. Alrighty, gang, it is now about 5 o'clock. I just got back from the gym, and we're going to be making a type of potato that takes a really long time to bake. So we're going to go ahead and make it. Look, there's the doggo. You know how earlier I was like, oh, the door's open because there's a doggo? There she is. Right, anyways, hi, friend. But what's it called? So today, we're going to be making twice-baked potatoes. And twice-baked potatoes take, you guessed it, twice the amount of time. So you bake it like it's a regular baked potato. I'm preheating the oven to 400 degrees right now. We're going to throw it in there with a little bit of olive oil and a little X on top. And I'm also going to go ahead and throw in both of my sweet potatoes. Oh no, we're going to throw in a sweet potato. They're gigantic if you haven't seen them. They're huge. And we're going to let that cook as well. Okay, so for twice baked potatoes, preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and now we're going to go ahead and season the outside of them with all the basic stuff. So we got salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder. I did a little bit of oregano and a little bit of chili powder. I was going to say chili pepper. Chili is a pepper. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, we got that, and then I have a giant sweet potato that I'm just going to go ahead and cook up so that I can turn that into a sweet potato casserole. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and let both those go into the oven for probably about like an hour, give or take. And now it sucks that that's going to take forever, but it gives me an opportunity to clean up my kitchen for a little bit. Okay, and I'm also going to go ahead and make roasted sweet potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and skin my other sweet potato for that. Also, once again, check out, this thing is bigger than my face. This thing is freaking gigantic. But yeah, we're going to skin this. We're going to cut this up into little bite-sized pieces, throw a little bit of olive oil on it, throw it in the oven. Still at 400 degrees. Also, for anybody who does not know, cutting a sweet potato is significantly harder than cutting a regular potato because this is hard as a rock. Like, that is actually insane to me. So this is going to be a fun time. So I'm going to be cutting these into like as small of little bite-sized pieces as I can, because personally, when I have roasted potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes, whatever, I really want them to be tiny little bite-sized pieces. So something like this size is what we're going to do with this entire potato. Okay, now 27 minutes later, that took forever to cut. Hey, future reference, they have these in the freezer department of most grocery stores. It's like $2. Just buy it frozen, man. This was a pain in the butt. But now we're going to drizzle some oil on that and then throw that in the oven. Once again, it's still going to be at 400 degrees. And then these potatoes should be about ready to come out for a sec. Okay, so we got these out of the oven. I'm going to go ahead and take them, cut them in half, and then for people who do not know, you basically want to scoop out the insides, make mashed potatoes, and then refill them. It's kind of like deviled eggs, if you've ever made deviled eggs. Okay, so this is what they're going to look like once I load them back up. Very beautiful, very gorgeous. We're going to throw them back in the oven for about 20-30 minutes. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and fill up a pot with water, and then we're going to start boiling some potatoes for mashed potatoes. I'm also going to get a pan out, and I'm gonna cook up a couple pieces of bacon so that we can have bacon in the mashed potatoes. Okay, I accidentally forgot to show it because there's a lot going on right now, but whenever I boil my potatoes for mashed potatoes, I like to go ahead and quarter them first, and then I also will skin a little bit. I like there being skin on my mashed potatoes, but if you don't skin them a little bit, sometimes there's a little too much skin. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of skin, but sometimes skin is too much skin, and it's overwhelming amount of skin, and you're like, oh my god, this should be potatoes, not skin potatoes. That didn't make sense. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, we're gonna cut this bad boy in half, and we're gonna mash that up as well. It's like a mashing party right now. I also need to take out those roasted sweet potatoes and flip them in a second. So we'll do that as well. Okay, so we went ahead and put a little bit of heavy whipping cream in there. We're going to throw in a little bit of ground cinnamon, a little bit of brown sugar, and then for funsies, I'm actually going to make these in little muffin tins because we have cute little silicone reusable muffin things, and so they're going to be like self-serving. It's going to be so fun. Okay, to make the topping for this, we're going to go ahead and melt some butter. I did like 3 tablespoons of butter because that just happened to be how much I had. And then we're going to do a couple big spoonfuls of this, get it nice and thick. And then that way, whenever we put these into the little silicone things, I can just put some of that liquid mixture on top. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, my sister requested that I did some with a marshmallow topping on top. So this is what they're going to look like. They're going to go back in the oven for a bit. Those bad boys are going to get flipped and seasoned and then go back in the oven for a bit. And then I'm going to make steaks so that there's actual substance in this meal. Alrighty, gang, and I ended up kind of like failing with giving you guys a bunch of live updates, but we ended up getting our roasted sweet potatoes done, our little mini sweet potato casseroles, our twice baked potatoes, our mashed potatoes, which have bacon bits in them, and then I ended up making steak tips. So overall, we ended up getting done 11 different types of potatoes. Ignore potato wedges, I didn't get to do those, but I ended up getting potato chips, because apparently we have potato chips in our pantry. Isn't that so exciting? I think that's so exciting. Anyways, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I've got a feeling I'm going to be sick of potatoes. I'm probably not going to be able to have potatoes for like a whole day. I'm kidding. I love potatoes. I'll never get sick of potatoes. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Pow, pow, pow.